The truth behind first intimacy. Nobody explains. They tell you what intimacy looks like, but not what it feels like inside your mind. People hear about first intimacy in whispers, jokes, or stories, but rarely in honest conversation. Society paints it as effortless and romantic, yet very few talk about the storm of emotions that swirl inside the mind when two people face their first truly close moment. Curiosity mixes with fear. Excitement meets uncertainty. Every heartbeat feels louder, every breath shorter. What you are really feeling is not only attraction, it's the brain's ancient stress response. When we experience something new, the body automatically prepares for the unknown. The heart races because adrenaline is released. Muscles tighten because the brain signals, pay attention, this matters. This reaction doesn't mean something is wrong, it means the experience carries meaning. For a first intimate moment, that sense of meaning is huge. You are not only sharing space with someone else, you are showing a part of yourself that is usually hidden. Fear and expectation. Before that first moment, most people build a library of expectations from movies, conversations, or imagination. These images are often unrealistic. Everything perfect, every emotion controlled, no hesitation, no nervousness. Then reality arrives. Real people breathe fast, hands tremble, minds race. This gap between expectation and reality creates fear. The fear isn't only about what might happen physically. It's about whether you will be accepted, whether you will do something wrong, whether you are normal. That fear is amplified by silence. When no one explains what's natural, the brain fills the empty space with worry. Education replaces that worry with understanding. Knowing that anxiety and curiosity can coexist allows you to see the situation for what it really is, a learning moment, not a test you must pass. Emotional readiness. Emotional readiness is the quiet foundation of any healthy first experience. It doesn't come from age or from friends' opinions. It comes from feeling safe. Safe to speak, safe to pause, safe to be yourself. Readiness means you can communicate without fear of rejection, and you trust your partner enough to be vulnerable. When both people feel emotionally prepared, the body follows naturally. Muscles relax, breathing steadies, and the mind shifts from defense to connection. If readiness is missing, the body senses it immediately. Discomfort replaces ease. That is why emotional comfort is more powerful than physical experience. Trust and the brain's stress response. The human brain constantly measures safety. When you trust someone, your body releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin calms the amygdala, the part of the brain that triggers fear. That's why holding hands, talking softly, or simply laughing together can reduce nervousness. If trust is weak or rushed, cortisol, the stress hormone, stays high. Cortisol tightens muscles and reduces comfort, making everything feel awkward. Understanding this biology shows that intimacy is not about trying harder, it's about feeling safer. The more secure your mind feels, the more your body allows closeness. Communication turns anxiety into connection. Words have the power to transform tension. Saying "I'm nervous" or "can we slow down" may seem small, but it changes everything. Communication signals to your brain that you have control. Control lowers anxiety. Anxiety fades into curiosity. Curiosity opens the door to connection. Many people think that talking breaks the moment. In truth, it builds it. Whispered honesty replaces awkward silence. When partners ask, listen, and respond kindly, trust deepens. Communication becomes the bridge between two different bodies and two different minds. Without it, even attraction can turn into misunderstanding. With it, even nervousness becomes part of a shared story. Relaxation and mindfulness. The best preparation for intimacy is not a list of instructions, it's learning to be present. Breathing deeply, focusing on the senses, and slowing your thoughts bring you back to the moment. When you are mindful, your brain moves from threat mode to connection mode. Blood pressure lowers, muscles soften, and you begin to feel rather than perform. Think of mindfulness as emotional first aid. It prevents the spiral of overthinking that often ruins what could be a simple, kind experience. Being present doesn't remove nervousness entirely, but it allows you to manage it. Nervousness becomes a sign that something meaningful is happening, not something dangerous. Breaking the silence. Our culture talks about everything except how people actually feel during their first intimacy. That silence creates guilt where there should be learning. True education replaces shame with science and compassion. It tells young people that it's okay to wait, it's okay to talk, and it's okay to feel nervous. Pain often comes from pressure. Pressure to be perfect, pressure to impress, pressure to match unrealistic images. When that pressure is removed, what remains is curiosity, respect, and sometimes laughter. Turning anxiety into growth. Every emotion around first intimacy, fear, confusion, hope, is an opportunity to grow. If you use it to learn about your body, your emotions, and your boundaries, it becomes a step toward maturity. What matters isn't how soon or how late you experience it, but how aware you are when you do. Awareness is the real milestone. Closing thoughts. No one explains that the first experience is more mental than physical. It's the moment you learn how trust feels, how fear dissolves when met with understanding, and how kindness can turn pressure into peace. The truth behind first intimacy is not about what happens between two bodies, but about what happens inside two minds. It is the art of learning to connect without losing yourself, to communicate without shame, and to see intimacy as a mirror, one that reflects both your vulnerability and your strength. How to feel safe and confident in your first intimate experience. Hook. Real confidence doesn't come from experience, it comes from feeling safe, seen, and understood. When people think about their first intimate experience, they often imagine excitement, attraction, and curiosity. But what truly shapes that experience isn't what you see in movies, it's how safe and confident you feel in that moment. Safety and confidence are the emotional foundations that turn a nervous memory into a meaningful one. Understanding emotional safety. Feeling safe doesn't mean there's no nervousness. It means you trust the person beside you enough to express yourself honestly. Emotional safety begins before anything physical happens in conversations. In kindness, in the small ways someone shows they respect you. You know you're emotionally safe when you can say no without fear, slow down without guilt, and I'm not ready without shame. When safety exists, your body relaxes naturally. Muscles soften, breathing steadies, and your mind allows closeness instead of fighting it. Without emotional safety, even attraction can feel heavy. The body's natural defense system, the fight or flight response, activates when we feel pressured or uncertain. That's why so many people describe their first time as tense or uncomfortable. Safety isn't optional, it's essential. The role of communication. Confidence grows from communication. Talking about boundaries, feelings, and expectations can seem awkward at first, but it's the secret to comfort. When you express what you want and your partner listens without judgment, the space between you becomes calm, not confusing. You don't have to sound like an expert. You can simply say, "I feel a bit nervous," or "Let's take things slowly." Honest words are powerful. They transform silence into understanding. They tell your brain that you're in control, and control brings confidence. The power of knowledge education is the quiet strength behind confidence. When you understand how your body works, what consent means, and how emotions can influence physical responses, you replace fear with awareness. The unknown loses its power. Many people enter intimacy thinking they must perform perfectly, but intimacy isn't a performance. It's communication in motion. Knowing that small pauses, laughter, or awkward moments are completely normal allows you to stay present instead of self-conscious. Building inner confidence. True confidence starts from within. It's about being at peace with yourself, your body, your choices, your limits. Before your first intimate experience, remind yourself, you don't have to prove anything. Confidence isn't how you look, it's how you feel about your right to be respected and cared for. Practicing mindfulness, deep breathing, calming thoughts, focusing on sensations instead of overthinking helps your body stay grounded. The calmer you feel, the more confident you become. Creating a safe space together. Safety isn't something one person gives, it's something you both create. Respect, patience, and understanding make the moment meaningful. If you ever feel uneasy, pause. A respectful partner will wait, listen, and reassure because true intimacy grows from mutual comfort, not pressure. Final thought, confidence and safety are not luxuries, they're the heart of every positive first experience. When you replace fear with understanding and pressure with communication, your first intimate moment becomes not just physical, but deeply human, a memory built on respect, trust, and care. What happens to your brain when you feel attraction? Hook. Every spark you feel starts in the brain. not the heart. Love is chemistry wearing emotion's disguise. When you feel drawn to someone, it's easy to think it's your heart leading the way. But what you actually feel is your brain's beautiful storm of chemicals. A complex mix of biology and emotion designed to make connection feel irresistible. Attraction is not just about how someone looks, it's about how your mind interprets what you see, hear, and feel. The spark, dopamine and desire. It begins with dopamine, the reward chemical. When you meet someone who excites you, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fuels joy and motivation. Suddenly, your energy rises, your focus sharpens, and everything about that person seems fascinating. You replay their words, their smile, their voice. Your brain is rewarding you for seeking connection, whispering, "This feels good, keep going." That's why attraction feels addictive at first. Your mind creates a loop of anticipation and pleasure. The more attention you give, the more dopamine rewards you. The rush, adrenaline and excitement. Alongside dopamine comes adrenaline, the body's excitement engine. Your heartbeat quickens, your palms sweat, and you might stumble over your words. This isn't clumsiness, it's biology. Adrenaline is preparing you for something meaningful, amplifying your senses so that you're fully alert in that person's presence. It's the same hormone that appears during moments of thrill or risk. That's why attraction often feels like a mix of excitement and nervousness. Your brain can't always tell the difference between fear and fascination. The calm connection, oxytocin and trust. Once emotional closeness begins, another chemical takes over oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone. It's released through gentle touch, eye contact, laughter, or even deep conversation. Oxytocin calms your body after the dopamine rush, creating warmth and safety. It's your brain's way of saying, "You can trust this person." Oxytocin builds the bridge between lust and love. It's the reason affection feels grounding, not chaotic. It turns chemistry into connection. The logic filter, prefrontal cortex. While all this is happening, your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, starts to quiet down. That's why attraction can make you overlook flaws or red flags. The brain literally tones down logic to let emotion take the wheel. It's not weakness, it's biology encouraging bonding. But awareness helps you balance emotion and reason. Recognizing when the love chemicals are loud keeps you from confusing chemistry with compatibility. The long-term picture. From excitement to stability. As relationships deepen, your brain adapts. Dopamine's fireworks fade slightly, replaced by serotonin, the chemical of stability and happiness. The rush becomes comfort, passion matures into peace. This is the natural evolution from attraction to attachment, from spark to steady flame. Attraction feels magical, but it's also measurable. Your brain writes the story while your heart gives it meaning. Understanding these chemicals doesn't make love less romantic, it makes it more real. Because when you know what's happening inside you, you can choose relationships that feel not just exciting, but emotionally healthy and deeply human. The hidden science of attraction and real sex education. Attraction isn't just a feeling, it's your entire body speaking a language your mind is still learning to translate. When you first feel drawn to someone, your brain becomes a laboratory of emotion. It releases dopamine, the chemical of pleasure, making every thought about that person feel rewarding. Adrenaline raises your heartbeat and sharpens your senses. That's the nervous energy that makes you stumble over words or blush. Then comes oxytocin, the calm after the storm. A hormone that builds trust and helps you feel emotionally safe. Your brain doesn't just react, it designs the experience of love. It lowers your logical guard, softens your fears, and amplifies hope. This chemistry is the invisible bridge between curiosity and connection. But there's more happening beneath the surface. A complete hormone story. Testosterone and estrogen spark desire. Serotonin brings balance and peace. Cortisol, the stress hormone, sometimes makes attraction feel overwhelming. When these hormones work together, they create the emotional rhythm we call intimacy. When they clash, relationships can feel confusing or unstable. That's why real sex education should be more than biology lessons or anatomy charts. It should teach self-awareness, how emotions, hormones, and the brain influence choices. It should talk about consent, empathy, communication, and how to recognize your own comfort level. Most importantly, it should remind you that intimacy isn't a performance. It's a partnership, built on mutual respect and emotional safety. When you understand what's happening inside you, attraction stops being a mystery. It becomes a meaningful part of personal growth, connection, and emotional intelligence.